Splitting the defense. Rubin now will have to backtrack a little bit.
Some nice passing going on there.
As it's Thompson. Thompson who lost it there for just a moment, and then off the turnover was picked up by Morgan Shackleton, the 5'9" freshman from Sante, California. And she works it all the way back behind the net from her far left to right. As now it's Arcevar at the top. Goes to her left side, finds Colford. And she will, again, what we're seeing here, Jinx, is the defense of the Scarlet Hawks not letting inside positioning happen here in the second half so far. As, again, we see Whitfield. She tried to do the same thing, but it has to be backed out again.
Yeah, they're keeping it away from the net and helping Abby Reynolds out today.
As this one, and going in for the stick there was Christian Jones. So they will get the whistle on her for the contact. So Whitfield now will have it off the reset as we have just under 16 minutes to play here in the second half, reaching the halfway point of the final half of regulation. It's Colford facing some pressure there from Rubin. Arcevar back to Colford again. Now to her left, it's Whitfield. Whitfield trying to sneak her way on in. She gets through a couple of defenders. Save made by Reynolds. Rebound. And she does eventually pick it up in the end.
Nice. And there's that stingy defense we were saying was one of the keys to the game. Keeping the ball out.
Yeah, very active sticks in front of Abby Reynolds as they try to make her day a lot easier than what Abby kind of had to go through back in Tuesday night's loss to Concordia, Wisconsin, and that 2-point loss.
Mm-hmm.
As the contact there is initiated from Reineke, the possession's going to go back to the Spartans. It's up ahead, and it'll find Urban. Urban to Whitfield. Oh, and an errant pass as it'll eventually come back into the Scarlet Hawk zone and picked up by Shackleton. Shackleton, she found it up ahead to Gilmer. As Gilmer will hold it along the near right side. Goes to the top for Arcevar again. Now it's in the center for Colford. Now they work to Whitfield, they seem to go to her left, and the right side of the defense for the Scarlet Hawks have really denied her so far as we played over halfway through of the second half.
Mm-hmm.
And an errant pass. Rubin going to chase that one down, and she will scoop it up off the turnover. Rubin up ahead. Ooh, and skipped away from Tognetti, but thankfully for her sake, Jen Young was there to slow it down as Tognetti will come back and get it. Up ahead, Cassandra Reineke, one of the co-captains alongside Bella Rubin, as they both wear the co-captain honor. Flicked up ahead, Mazurowski.
Nice pass.
Mazurowski up ahead. She's got a couple moves. She's going to fling it into DeLuca, and she scores. Nice setup from Reineke, Mazurowski to DeLuca. Tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, making it look easy out there.
And it's 7-5 Scarlet Hawks.
Shutting out the Spartans so far this half.
So we'll get one more look at that goal as you see Mazurowski came in with a head of steam, and nobody, as you can see right in the center of your screen there, DeLuca, not many eyes were on DeLuca.
Which is surprising, knowing what a high scorer she is for this team.
And as you'll see again from how it looked from up top, you see how much space there is in front of Riley Armstrong, the goalkeeper for the Spartans, as a timeout on the field is charged to the Spartans. And you see right there a good angle of that goal from Alyssa DeLuca as well. And that's what's given the Scarlet Hawks the 2-goal lead as we have just under 14 minutes in the second half to play. 7-5 again our score. Alongside Jinx Scott, I'm Ryan Fay with you here on the Scarlet Hawk Broadcast Network, powered by the Illinois Media School. Hello there from up top. That's Jinx, I'm Ryan. And like you mentioned when we started that second half, that you wanted to see the same thing from the Scarlet Hawks into the second half. And as we basically at the halfway point, just over it, how would you assess it?
I think they're keeping up that momentum. They're shutting down the Spartans so far. That's probably what Spartans are talking about, how to get their momentum going back so they can get the goal or ball in the net, because obviously what they were doing in the first half is not working for them. We haven't seen those wraparounds coming from the Spartans at all this half.
And we're not seeing also a lot of inside positioning from the offense from the Spartans either, as we played a little over 16 minutes. Has it been a change in this Guard Hawk defense, or is it just, as you talked about, with the wraparound plays and those little slot passes, that really, it appears to have been the difference in the second half, because we haven't seen any of that here in the second half.
Yeah, I think the Spartans, or the Hawks got onto that and had that number, so they're not allowing that.
Serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They serve the God Versace, Louis, and Marc Jacob. Trickster, serving the master slick stuff. Who trying to spit game in this game? So I say dash on them like Jay did. You lost one, not letting these legs live. Filled with perversion. Rather his sermons by Bacham, Piper, Mac, got the dispersion. Lust is a beast to be kept in cages. I don't work for the dance like David. I deserve death, he deserves my praises. We fought like birds, yeah, we stay raving. Wings of the angels who covered their faces in the presence of God. It's holiness, made I say a drop to his knees. Holy, holy, holy. Now the people sing. Started from the bottom, now we here. Undeserved rent, just Christ and brought near. No settling with God, but charges been clear. Now aligning my will with his good year. To bring that word a piece of misfits. And even if they pull the heat from their hip, to where he is. That is just a sin dog to where he is. Yeah, I'm using my mouth like speakers to recruit soldiers for the master to I'm using my mouth like speakers to recruit soldiers for the master. I'm tired of being silent, walking in Inglewood, dudes slinging rocks, no David, so the fire, sending it to tyrant, they tell me be quiet. Got me feeling like John on the island, the Pat most exile living here, never afraid, his love cast out fear. Bullets fly in the shy, but we make rounds. UFOs dish it out, stuff the ground. Step to the rhythm of this gospel salsa. Serve it up to him on the plate, salsa. Be ahead or beheaded. We follow the lamb to the slaughter. Christians, you ready? Tell them heaven is a celebration. Don't miss out on the party, keep the invitation. Come on ye, heavy laden, but you can't see, you be saving. Out of the darkness, but we glow. The heights are hard, but we know. God created all stars, converse with the universe. He redeemed us from the curse. We deserve no more chances, but only because of Christ we've been handed the right to become his sons and daughters. We share this gospel on every corner. Because I'm screwed if he wasn't nailed to the cross, I lose. If I don't want to share with the lost day. This is a white man's religion, but he can make you colorblind when he restores vision. Causing the only hue that you see is red. That means your blood, body, your spirit was led. So walk by faith and not by sight. So let me tune on my voice and you see right. I'm using my mouth like speakers to recruit soldiers for the master. I'm using my mouth like speakers to recruit soldiers for the master.
Welcome to another edition of Dragon Sports Live. We got a slight echo, but we can deal with it. We got an exciting show for you. We got members getting fired, as well as people being traded. But stay tuned after these brief messages. Actually, not messages, after this song called Plow by Asha Marie.
It's round.
blood crying from the living to tell your story, image. Your hand on the ground. Live from Emmetsville Road. Yeah. Money, Mississippi, I want my refund. I see the bed is empty, return our native son. Picking cotton made you plenty. My hands have made you filthy, rich, naked, poor, blind, lost aside if you was pity. Full of it, lies that you covered. Tallahatchie snitching on ya, the truth hovered. Pulling pranks in the floating in the riverbanks. Wouldn't bank on you gloating over his remains. Chicago's future, snatched by his accuser. Given to a living, unforgiven child abuser. A whistle brought a pistol to the temple. It was simple, his initials on his ring. Only ID that was seen, ugly scene. How can I keep plowing and miss the funeral? Emmett is a witness to heaven is something beautiful. To make me, I keep tilling till Jesus bring racial healing. Bad weeds can't destroy a little black boy's joy. Crying from the ground. We're drowned by the sound. No, we can't give up now. Blood crying from the ground. We're drowned by the sound. Your hand on the plow. No, we can't give up now.
1955 is no different from these present day things. The black youth was shot today to be terrorized for all the blacks to see.
7-year rice. Playing with a gun outside a rec center. The gun turned out to be fake, and he was shot to death by a rookie police officer who says that he thought it was real.
Baby steady down and parents grind, cause they burying their young ones in the ground year round. Marching on this land to stand for grands and grants, cause they stood for us, they could hardly move around. What happened to the love? What happened to the peace? We used to be close, this fire need to cease. Forget the burner, put it in the burners with all that other nonsense. You selling on the beat, burn the heat in the news too. 24/7 lives are getting pretty crucial. Tragedy actors are doing crimes that we used to. Who do we call? When do we pray? What do we look to? Get on your knees, call on his name, it's pretty simple. That's what the saints do. Mango, don't be a fool and get your brains through. That ain't cool. This is the generation now. You should never tap out. We never gonna stop. Keep your hands on the plow.
Walk with me, Lord, walk with me. She said, open the casket so everybody sees this. Look how he was beaten, look how he was treated. A sore for sight, eyes too much for the screen. But in 20-something teen, we still don't believe it. Got strong from every meal that my mama fed. Wisdom in her words, I can feel what my mama said. Mama's burying sons, another son is dead. Wish I could catch every tear that my mama shed. Fist lips, hips, afros, and dark hair. Underground railroad, Rosa Parks there. A queen in the field, Lord knows it's not fair. Black girl magic, life's known to start there. From sugar to spicy, daily and nightly. The world on the shoulders with a kid on her right knee. Taking on life's lemons, adding into her iced tea. While Mahalia Jackson singing spirituals in the right key. God crying from the ground. We're drowned by the sound. No, we can't give up now. Blood crying from the ground. We're drowned by the sound. Your hand on the plow. No, we can't give up now.
Welcome back to Dragon Sports Live. This is Dante Payne alongside with Brad.
How's it going? Happy Halloween to everybody. It's crazy to think.
Yeah, it is.
Right, no, I'm with you. It doesn't feel like it. It's just, I don't know. It's just crazy to think that tomorrow is November already.
That on top of that, I leave to go to California where it's warm in November.
Hey, I'm jealous, very jealous of you.
I'll be doing work though.
Oh, always grinding.
That's the best way to roll.
Absolutely.
Speaking of grinding, so DJ Durkin was reinstated, but just got released today.
Yep. I mean, you showed it to me, and we were in a meeting or whatever, and we finally came out and we talked about it, and it's got to be a pure public outrage move. I mean,
like you said, they protested.
You had them voted. You had them voted to reinstate it or whatever. You had reports of players walking out of the first meeting with him. I think it was the same day too of when he was reinstated, or maybe the day after, and then now. A student protest, like you mentioned, was planned for tomorrow for it, and then now you fire him. I mean,
on top of that, the parents.
Right? Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. And people were saying, how you're going to be recruiting and stuff. You're going to be going into these these parents' houses with their kids, and you have to somehow pitch to them that you can trust him as a coach, even though a player has died on your watch this past summer.
Yeah, it's like, okay, if that happened, you would lose trust with me just because as a teammate, like he was overheating. You could have prevented that. You have your training staff with you doing practice, so in case somebody gets hurt, like all that gets prevented. So it's like he get reinstated. So I was like, oh, they're reinstated. I'm like, so they decided with him, and I'm thinking like, oh, he get to coach his team this upcoming weekend because it's getting ready to start playoff for NCAA.
Yeah, well, Maryland doesn't have to worry about that at least. But there were I remember saying, well, maybe Maryland just couldn't straight up afford to buy him out, which is it was a couple $1 million, and that's kind of tough for Maryland being more of a basketball school than a football school. And Durkin, I mean, he's 10-15, not letting play being coaching extremely well or something, and it was hard. It's hard to get behind that. How can you reinstate someone, especially with kind of what went on at Ohio State and everything with Urban Meyer? Obviously, that's a way different story. But I mean, you have these coaches just really whether they're hiding behind it's football culture or whatever. You cannot be having someone dying on your watch for heat exhaustion during the summer, because that's like everyone said, it's complete negligence.
Yeah, it's negligence. Is just like, how hard was you working them that he literally passed out from heat exhaustion and then died from it? And then on top of that, the president was retiring, so it was like a couple other people was leaving because of this whole situation. And basically, the president had sided with the coach, and then he was announced to retire. Then they just turned around and was like, "You're fired." Like, what? Something had to change. Like you said, the students,
clearly public outrage.
The parents who just like, it felt like, because the pop literally got on. He was on ESPN the other day saying it felt like it was a punch in the gut and a spit in my face, is how he said it. And the mom was just like, she barely had anything to say. She just was outraged. She just was like, why?
Yeah, and you lost your child. There's something that could have been completely preventable easily. It's obviously I'm not a doctor, but I'm sure you have plenty of people there that can monitor your players and tell them, hey, this guy needs some rest right now. He's overheating and stuff. But there's some coaches out there. Football culture can be pretty ugly if you have the right guy for that certain outlook, and unfortunately, it costs the student's life.
Yeah, so that's why he's out of the job. He's not the only coach out of the job, though. We got a couple other coaches that got out of the job. Let's see, Tyronn Lue, he gets fired after an 0-6 start, which I'm actually like, why did y'all fire a coach that took y'all to the championship finals?
Do we want to say the coach took him there, or do we want to say the players took him
Well, that goes to show that it was coaching and LeBron and that little squad that he had, but he was a pretty good coach. In my opinion, he was a pretty good coach. Like, looking at his numbers, he was 41-26 with the team. And it was like, you had a good winning record. Like, you just starting to get his coaching wins, and it's like, y'all pulled the plug on him, and it's just like, why?
I mean, it's just the LeBron effect, man. It's crazy. I mean, he'll giveth and taketh away. Obviously, he didn't take away Tyronn Lue, but I mean, it's hard because we know the Cavs weren't going to be good, obviously, as opposed to last year. And on top of that, it doesn't help that you're going to have Kevin Love out for an extended amount of time, which we talked about earlier, saying if the Cavs are going to be decent, Love's got to be healthy, and unfortunately, that's not happening. So it's for me, I've always been interested. I've never really understood. The Cavs are a better team than some of these teams that have better records than them, in my opinion. But it's still, it's the first year outside of LeBron. I know you still want to get back to the postseason after you kept Kevin Love and everything. But I mean, like you said, to pull the plug really quick, starting 0-6, I realize it's frustrations, But how good of a team was it really? Were they really going to be? And I've never, outside of if you're just straight up if you're straight up just not getting making progress with a young team, then I understand the firing. But if you're not going to be that good, then what's the point of firing if you're just not if you're just not gonna, that's not going to make things better. That's just me though.
Yeah, and then on top of that, like I agree with what you're saying, but on top of it, like it had to be something in that office that was going on with Lou and the GM and that whole front office, because numbers wise, why are we firing him? If you look based off numbers, it's like, why are we firing him? But it had to be some issues going on. Like, let's see, LeBron didn't really like the GM, what he was doing. Like, I need some players type thing. He went in there, was like, I need some players who gonna ball, or if I pass on the ball, be ready to shoot. And then LeBron was also siding with Lou, was like, oh, y'all just let go of a great coach. Like, he instantly went to Twitter on that, and it's like, words. Like, we should get rid of Hoiberg and bring Lou here then. Let him do with the Bulls, work with that young squad.
I mean, I don't know. Well, first off, the young core here in Chicago's got to be healthy, and that's the only problem, because literally the whole starting lineup is practically injured, it feels like, with Dunn and Markkanen and Portis now. But yeah, I mean, I don't. It's hard. Hoiberg, I'll admit I wasn't crazy about the hire, but at the same time, he hasn't had the right roster for him yet. It feels like, because he came back, he was coming into Thibodeau's team, and Hoiberg's more of a tempo guy, and Thibodeau is not that kind of guy. But and then on top of that, the roster just hasn't really been that good for Hoiberg for the most part.
I beg to differ, because I was looking at the team, was it 2 years ago, where it was Indiana, Miami, Detroit, all battling for the 8th spot. It's pretty much that same squad. Just you added a few more pieces. To me, Hoiberg doesn't coach. Like, you don't get mad. You sit there with your arms crossed when you should be having a fit when something ain't going right. You're just like, okay, coach. Okay, ref. You don't coach. Like, get mad. I want to see some expression. I want to see you pull this person because he's making a mistake and tell him what he did. Let him know, like, you're not in your college days. You're in the NBA now. You can't do everything you did in college. You got to transition, make it broader.
Right, and I know that's been a criticism really with Hoiberg everywhere, because he's, like you said, he just kind of stands there with no real emotion. He doesn't really show emotion. And it's always funny too, because and you're completely right, because every time he would get a technical, it would be like an event on Twitter. Twitter would just blow up and say, "Oh, we got a technical!" but no, I get what you mean. I mean, I've always wondered how when it comes to coaches, professional sports and coaching, I've always been interested on how exactly that's really needed. I think head coaches are more probably destabilizers, maybe, if anything, because you guys have guys really good. Really good, and they know what they got to do, and then how much does a coach really have in terms of that? But you can look over in Boston with Brad Stevens and how well that's going. It's always been something I've always been interested in, because you have these guys, old younger guys at the top top of their game and stuff, and do they really need a coach or whatever, that kind of stuff, and obviously you do, but it's always been something I've always wondered.
Well, like you said, you had a question about that. Think about Greg Popovich in San Antonio. If he chooses not to coach, he can sit there. Well, actually, he missed a couple games because his wife, when his wife passed, they was pretty fine. The assistant coach didn't really do anything because they used to what Pop already best out into their system, and they was able to still do it. And then when he came back, you add a whole nother level. So the coach can break or boost the team depending on what your style of coaching is. Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm with you. It's a stupid thing. I wonder, but it is what it is. I know coaches are important. They are for the most part. So that's that. There's a lot of other coaches that was getting fired too. It was like Hugh Jackson.
On top of that, in the same city.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even think about that till you just said that. Yeah, because, Cleveland also let go Hugh Jackson and Ty Healy, the offensive coordinator for the Browns. Yeah, all in the same city.
Poor Cleveland, man. I mean, they have the Indians right now. I mean, well, not right now since the season's over, but they have the Indians, and I mean, Browns apparently just are still the Browns. Cavaliers are off to a really rough start at 1-6, firing their coach, and on top of that, having some sort of dispute too with I think it was Larry Drew, their interim coach right now in terms of the contract.
Yeah, because he want to be past the season. He don't want I want to be guaranteed past the season. So I'm not gonna enter for you if I'm not gonna be past the season. Like I know y'all know I used to be a head coach. Want y'all give me back the job?
Right.
It's basically what he was saying. That was his voice. Like, give me the job, the head coaching job.
Yeah, and go. Going back to Hugh Jackson and everything. I mean, how could you not fire him? The dude has won 3 games. 3 games in 40 games, excuse me. In 40 games, he's won 3 and a tie. But long time coming. I mean, I realize, and I guess the timing was right because I mean, at least they have a okay roster. I mean, it's a better roster than what they've had before because obviously they won 2 more games than last year and 1 more game in 2 years ago. Yeah. So I mean, it's at least they're a little. I don't want to say respectable because they're still losing, but it's a roster you don't really scoff at. It's just now you got to find someone that's going to progress your players. Now with the rookie quarterback at Baker Mayfield, you want him to grow. You have Jarvis Landry, who you've paid big money for or traded for in Miami, and paid big money for, and now you have Chubb since you traded away Carlos Hyde a week or 2 ago. So I mean, it's a young team, and now you got to show you got to develop this team. Otherwise, you're gonna get the X. And with Hugh, I mean, oh my God, it's just unthinkable that you can only win 3 games in 40 attempts in the NFL.
Yeah, and most of those games were cans of butt whoopings open. The games that they could have won or should have won.
This season alone.
Like, it's been quite a few of those games. It's actually been about, I want to say, 30 of those type games where they should have won or could have won but couldn't finish or the right play wasn't called. Personally, in 3 seasons, if that's my record as a coach, I would have get you the boot.
Right. I mean, tied week 1 against the Steelers. That is what it is. But I think they missed a field goal towards the end of that overtime that would have gave them the win. Saints, again, they were winning that game late. They take the lead. They miss the extra point to take the lead, and then the Saints drive right down the field and kick the winning field goal. Okay, whatever. Jets, woo! They beat the Jets.
But the Jets ain't got a secondary.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Woo! Throw the confetti and keep the straight face right there. Raiders, another overtime loss, although a controversial call in that game. The Chargers, they got mollywacked, and then the Bucks game and another game in overtime that they could have won. So I mean, it's not like they're getting destroyed. It's just they're like you said it a bunch of times. They can't finish when they have that lead.
They can't finish, and that starts with coaching decisions. You're the one calling the plays in the headset of the helmet. You, the offensive coordinators, like you're telling your coordinators, like, hey, tell them to run this play and that play. Y'all talking to each other, so it's all about play calling, especially in football.
Yeah.
Basketball, you draw up a play, but football, it's about calling that right play at the right time.
A lot of moving parts you got to anticipate.
With that being said, we're gonna take a quick break. Actually, we're gonna give you Audrey Valentine, Never Let Go, here on Dragon Sports Live. Stay tuned.
Oh yeah. Oh. See when we started this, I was so confused. Didn't know just where to turn now. Baby, you're my fuse. Baby, you're my fire. Baby, you're my ride or die. Anywhere you lead me, boy, it's gonna be worth my while. Baby, you're my heart. Baby, you're my whole. Baby, you're the one I wanna be with till we're old. This is up for everything, I feel it in my soul. You're my lover and my friend, I'll never let you go. 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 It would go this far. Folks been trying to break us up from the very start. People steady talking back and forth, gossiping about you, but I tune out all the noise. 'Cause to me, you're the truth. I respect your hustle, I respect your grind. Always keep it real with me, say what's on your mind. Share your every thought, share what's in your heart. You already know the deal, you had me from the start. Never let you go. 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 Never let you go.
What I gotta do now to keep my shorty here with me? 'Cause I don't ever wanna go without my baby. What I gotta do now to keep my shorty here with me? Girl, just kissing you gets me weak in the knees. Feels so safe and warm. He was coming through the storm. Loving you is all I ever need. So forget about the past. Work hard to make it last. Girl, I'll always be with you. Never let it go.
Never let you go. Never let you go. Never let you go. And never let you go. Never let you go. Oh no. Never let you go. 'Cause you know you're always mine. Never let you go. Never let you go. Never let you go. Never let you go. Never let you go.
Chicagoland Sports Radio is your home for all of the latest Chicago sports news. CSR is not only the home to the most entertaining and informative shows in Chicago, but covers all of the top college and high school games as well. Big guests and bigger personalities. This is your home for the greatest debates in sports, broadcasting live from State Street in the South Loop. For all of the news, analysts, and interviews to keep you informed, log on to ChicagolandSportsRadio.com to listen live. Chicagoland Sports Radio. It's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Have you ever struggled in the middle of your workout or practice? Have you ever struggled in the midst of a sporting event? Have you ever struggled just by doing normal things throughout your day? They say refuel with plain water to get throughout the day.
What?
Newsflash, water just does not cut it. You need electrolytes and vitamins B and C, as well as other natural energies to get through the day. So instead of drinking plain water, grab yourself electrolyting, taste-defying, thirst refresher vitamin water to get you through any hump or bump in the road. So go grab that thirst refresher vitamin water today. Let that power your day, your workout, as well as your game. Let it start your body up like a race car engine. Go ahead and go get a vitamin water today, and let's drop that plain old water to the side. Welcome back to Dragon Sports Live, here with Brett and Dante. So we was talking about how the Browns lost their coach, but then this is a effect of losing their coach. So the Pittsburgh Steelers hosted the Browns this past weekend, and the Steelers mollywopped the Browns 33-18 when Ben Roethlisberger had 257 passing yardage and Connor had 146 yards rushing.
Yeah, James Conner, man, what can we say? Very good Le'Veon Bell replacement, so to speak. Antonio Brown himself had 2 touchdowns on 74 yards as well. But, it was Jackson's last game. He got fired, I think, on Monday or something. And, what can you say? I mean, it's a team. They tied Pittsburgh earlier to start the season. They only had 237 yards throughout that entire game. So it was just time to give them the axe. I mean,
it was time to go.
We said it before the break, man. The Browns just have shown no real progression at all.
No, they still the same way. It's like usually you start out, but then you improve next season. They had 2 seasons back to back where they didn't improve. They got 1 win. And then this season you do see improvement. They get 2 wins, but
the bar is very low when you don't win a game this season.
Yeah. So that's just that. We also had a very good game with the Washington Redskins and the New York Giants. I thought the Giants was actually going to get there first. Well, because they're 1-7
now. Yeah,
I thought they was going to get their second win in that game, and they didn't. They did play good defense against the Redskins. So that game was only 20-13. They only lost by 7.
Yeah, it's the Giants, man. They have 2 really great weapons in Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham, and they just can't seem to get much. Well, they get good production out of them, but for some reason they can't seem to score. And with the Redskins kind of being a little bit of a surprising team so far this season, 5-2, and then on top of that, making a trade with the Packers, getting Clinton Dix to improve themselves. I mean, they're proving themselves to probably. I mean, right now they're the best team in the NFC East, and it's just crazy to think with Philadelphia just a year removed from their Super Bowl, not even a year removed, half a season removed from their Super Bowl, being at 4-4, and Redskins are buying in, man. They believe in themselves, and why not? I mean, Adrian Peterson seems to still have a little bit left in the tank. I mean, what, $149 on the ground against the Giants last week?
Peterson is a beast. If y'all don't realize, Adrian Peterson is a beast. When he went to who he go to before the Redskins, the Saints, right?
Yeah.
When he was with the Saints, he still was putting up 100 yards a game almost.
But I mean, it's it's time. I guess it's just time to buy in with Washington, 5-2, leading the East. Somebody's it's just wild to me to think that the Eagles are where they at right now at 4-4, even though they made a trade as well.
They made a trade, but like I said, you said they added more depth by getting Clinton Dix, which that I thought that was his. I'm like, is that actually his first name?
So that's his real name. As long as I've known him since Alabama, that's been his name.
Okay. I looked, jumped off. I was like, Clinton Dix. I'm like, wait, that's your actual name. Hold up. Threw me off for a second.
Yeah.
They also was talking about benching Eli and starting the backup quarterback who won't be starting anymore because he actually got arrested.
Yeah, I mean, wild story. He was on his way to practice, and then what was it? He was driving through a construction zone, got pulled over, or
did a legal U-turn.
That and almost hit a police officer. So that's a good way to get yourself out of a possible starting job, or at least starting a game with the Giants.
So again, we're stuck with seeing Eli Manning. So I thought they was legit talking about pulling that plug on Manny, bitching them for that game. Nope. We gonna still see Eli, even though he's throwing 316 yards in that game against the Redskins. I was hoping to see a rookie quarterback. I feel like Eli, your season's coming to an end, or maybe it's time for you to go to a different team like your brother did.
I mean, yeah. I'm sure he's got some left in the tank. He's not crazy productive. I mean, he's got 8 touchdowns to 6 picks, and he's over 2,300 yards right now. But I mean, it's just whether he needs a change of scenery or the Giants need a new quarterback. I mean, well, probably both, I guess, for that matter. But the Giants kind of lost their opportunity to get a quarterback last year. I mean, they're still, they'll obviously have chances in the future, but you won't have as much of a deep class as you did last year when it comes to quarterbacks. Now, how will they turn out? We don't know. But, you had your opportunity, and obviously the one you drafted a couple years back isn't going to be the answer, or the one you were going to start, since apparently he had to go and get arrested on just before he was about to possibly get the job. So, Giants got to get a quarterback, man.
Not at all. Not at all. We got a little quick rundown of all the scores of this past weekend. So we had the Baltimore Ravens and the Carolina Panthers face off. Panthers won that game 36-21. Newton, 219 yards passing and 52 yards rushing. He was your leading rusher in that game, along with Moore with 90 yards in receiving.
Yeah, Carolina trying to stay on pace with the Saints over in the NFC South, but it's pretty much turned into a 2-team race between the Panthers and Saints, because we know the Falcons kind of faded off to start the season, but we know they still have really potent offense. They're sitting at 3-4 right now, but they've won their last 2 games, so it's tough because the Saints just seem unstoppable right now. Well, the Rams seem unstoppable. The Saints seem just as unstoppable, even though they do have a blemish on their record. But putting things together, and it's crazy to think. I hate to change the subject going from the Panthers to the Saints, but Drew Brees didn't have that good of a game either on Sunday night against the Vikings, and they still won, and they still put up 30 points.
Yeah, I was just since we talking about it, he didn't. Yeah, they put up that. Hold on. Yeah, he did. He didn't have a game, but he at least had a passing touchdown in that game, though. Yeah,
I mean, it's Drew Brees. You always got to assume he's got at least one touchdown through the air.
But you know who didn't get a passing touchdown in that game?
Oh, are we talking Tom Brady? Not that it matters since they won, but
they won, but without Tom Brady. So he threw over 45 passes. Well, he threw 45 passes, completed 26 of them, and not one passing touchdown.
Crazy to think. Yeah, you mentioned 324 through the air. It was just an ugly game. It was an ugly Monday night game. But when you're playing the Bills, I mean, you're not going to need much to win in the first place. The Bills really struggle to score now that Allen's been hurt.
And now Aaron Anderson's in protocol. Yep,
so bring on Nathan Peterman, baby, and we all know who the Bills are playing next week.
Oh yeah. So speaking of that, the Bears did pull out the victory against the Jets. Trubisky threw for 220 yards with Howard running game 81 yards and Cohen 70 yards receiving.
Yeah, Cohen long touchdown reception. That is a tremendous run after the catch. But what can we say, man? Tariq Cohen is just unreal. I love the size. I love the size, obviously, just because he's most likely the tiniest guy on the field, and he's just so hard to take down. He's so fast, man.
Because he catch the ball, it's like me.
Right, exactly. A roadrunner, yeah, exactly. Because he takes off, man. Exactly. I don't know. That sounded more like a bird, but hey, we said you wanted to try it. We tried it.
Yeah,
how could we not? But Trubisky played pretty well. 16 and 29, 220 yards for 220, 2 touchdowns, and he's fine. He's fine. The Bears Bears needed this win first off because they have a really doable stretch that they're going through right now. They got the Jets obviously this past week, which they won. Now they got Buffalo coming up this week. So I mean, these are games you gotta win.
They gotta win, but with that win, they are back in first because we did have the Vikings lose and the Packers lose. Speaking of Packers, they lost to a tight one against the Rams, which caused a slew of things to happen. Along, like we mentioned before, Clinton Dix was traded. On top of that, Ty McGrady was traded to the Ravens, and they lost that game.
Yeah, I mean, there's no shame in losing to the Rams this season, but Montgomery just did not make a smart play. He could have taken the knee in the end zone to give Aaron Rodgers, of all people, a chance to at least tie the game, but took it out of the end zone and paid for it with the fumble, and now on top of losing the game, now you got shipped off to Baltimore. But there seemed to be some sort of friction going on, I guess, between Montgomery and McCarthy or something. Something was going on.
So Montgomery felt like his role, because he was a receiver, switched to running back when that was that year when they didn't have any running backs. And he was like, "Oh, I can give it a go." And I did it.
He was good.
Yeah,
especially against the Bears.
Yeah, it was. But it just, like you said, chemistry wasn't there. He didn't feel that way. But on top of that, here's a little weird stat. Baltimore, wow. Thinking about Harry Potter now.
It was not be named.
Baltimore, so when they traded on the trade deadline, they only did that 3 times, where they added an offensive tackle, Eugene Monroe, in 2013, and wide receiver Chris Givens in 2015. They only did 3 times in the 22-year history.
Huh. I mean, yeah, the NFL, I guess it makes sense. NFL trade deadline isn't as glamorous, so to speak, as the NBA and MLB trade deadlines. Why, I'm not really sure. I'm sure, probably contracts or something have to do with it. But so the Ravens have only done 3 trades, huh? In their trade deadline history, huh?
Well, yeah, as far as like trade deadline, right. They only did 3 in their 22-year history.
Huh.
But if you think about it, in each of those years, they did presumably well in those years. But they needed depth in their running game because you have 2 young backs, but their running game, it was like one running back is averaging 3 yards per carry, and the other running back is averaging 2.2 yards per carry. Ty Montgomery gives you about 5 or 6 per carry.
Yeah, he's good, and bouncing off of the Ravens numbers, I mean, they're 19th in overall yards and rushing. They got 773, and then 24th in averaging in yards per game on the ground, which is at 96. And they're both on the bottom half basically of the league when it comes to rushing. So, and Montgomery brings some dynamics because he can run, and he's as a receiver too, and he's got some good speed.
So that gives you a backfield option. That gives you, let's see, the Le'Veon Bell, who's still not with the team option.
Yeah, and time's quickly running out on that.
Yep. Got another week to sign and before you can be eligible to play the season, or you won't be playing the season at all. We also have the Seahawks and Detroit Lions. Seahawks 28-14. Stafford throwing for 310 yards in that game. And Carlson rushing for 105, and Jones 117 yards in that game receiving.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not even mentioning Russell Wilson. He only threw 3 incompletions that whole game. I mean, it's just a weird score looking at it because Seattle was really in control for most of that game too, for the most part. Tremendous production from Carson, as you mentioned. 105 yards on the ground, a touchdown. And Marvin Jones through the air, 7 catches for 2 touchdowns on 117 yards. But the Lions are such a confusing team to try to figure out, man. I mean, in a division especially, too. I mean, it's good that the division is what it is right now, but in such a tight division and everything. And then on top of that, you're trading away Golden Tate to Philadelphia.
One of your leading receivers.
Right. So now it's going to be coming down to Marvin Jones practically through the air, because I'm just looking at the rest of these receivers that they've got, and not a lot jump out at me, but outside of Jones. I mean, they have Kerryon Johnson, but he's a halfback. But other than that, I mean, they not a pretty looking wide receiver core.
Didn't the Lions also fire their offensive coordinator as well?
That I'm not sure. Wouldn't surprise me.
I think they fired I know I've seen somebody else get fired in that pop up in my little feeds that one time, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either.
I feel you.
Another, like you said, the Eagles, Jacksonville Eagles. Wow, Philadelphia Eagles.
Sorry, it just dawned on me too. I was like, Jacksonville Eagles. Oh wait,
the Philadelphia took on the Jaguars, 24-18, and they had both quarterbacks threw for 286 yards in that game. Adams rushing for 61, and Matthews receiving for 93 in that game.
Yeah, it's scary to think that the Eagles have now added, Golden Tate to that already decent, receiving core. Obviously, Jordan Matthews isn't terrible. Of course, you have Alshon Jeffrey Aguilar isn't bad. And I didn't even mention Zach Ertz yet. So, I mean, Wentz is going to have a lot of weapons to pass to. And it's fun. It's a fun move. I mean, Philadelphia obviously not where they want to be right now, being at 4-4 behind Washington. But right now you're sitting pretty, and I still trust Philadelphia.
I feel like Philadelphia is going to be that, what you call that creep team. They just creep right on in. It's like the second half of the season, I feel like next thing you know, you're just going to hear Philadelphia win. That's my prediction going down the line.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me. Looks like they're on the bye this week, but coming into next week, or the week after, watch out because perhaps they won't lose.
Who are they going against then?
Week 10. Oh, the Cowboys. So
that might be a tough one.
I like their chances.
Speaking of what's coming up, we do have upcoming games. So this Thursday, we got the Oakland Raiders versus San Francisco 49ers. Both of these teams, Raiders is 1-6, and 49ers is 1-7. The face you just made, though, when I said that.
I don't even know if that game. I don't even think that game is going to see my TV screen, honestly. Yeah, I mean, Raiders, man. I don't know no idea what to make of that team, but
who are you picking in?
The Raiders should win this game. The Niners just look terrible against Arizona for whatever reason. So give me the Raiders just for the sake they actually have their quarterback as opposed to San Francisco with Bethard. But someone's got to win this game, right? I mean, they're having ties.
I'm going with the 49ers.
Go with the Niners?
I'm going to go with the Niners just because they're home. Even though both the teams' home and away records is
not great.
Not great. But, I'm going to ride with the home team on this one. I feel like they're going to go to 2-7 versus 1-7.
Yeah. Well, we'll preview the hometown team. Obviously, Bears are going out to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Bears 10-point favorites in that one. I do like the Bears in that one. This is another game Mac doesn't really need to play if he's not 100%.
And from what I've been seeing on ESPN Force, he may not play.
And that's fine.
He may sit it out, but as you can see, the Bears did perfectly fine without Mac being in the game against the Jets. So I feel like Mac will rest that game, but they also lost Cal Long in that game too. He'll be out about 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because Long's just every season he's been injured and it sucks. And he's a decent part of that offensive line. But on the bright side, I guess if there is more football to be played for the Bears in terms of the playoffs or meaningful football,
he'll be back.
He should be back, and that's good. That's good to know. It's just a matter of can that part of the line pick up the slack for him while he's gone.
I'm taking Bears in that game. Just like you said, Bills can't get their defensive scheme going. So I'm definitely riding with Bears in that, and I feel like you're gonna have a hungry Cohen, want the ball more, and Howard, and then you're gonna have Trubisky also running too and passing. So I feel like you're gonna see a lot of different. I feel like that's gonna be a practice game for the Bears basically for that game.
Hopefully, and looking at the last 5 games for Buffalo, 0 points, 13 points, 13 points, 5 points, 6 points.
So we can't score on offense, and you got Peterman starting.
Yeah. So there's no excuse for the Bears to not win this game.
So we got Tampa Bay and Carolina. Tampa Bay is coming in this game 3-4, while the Carolina Panthers is 5-2 in this game.
Fitzmagic, baby, he's back starting, but give me the Panthers. Undefeated at home. I mean, they look to be playing extremely well when it being one of the best teams in the NFC. Unfortunately, the Rams and Saints do exist as well, but give me the Panthers.
I'm gonna take the Buccaneers in this one. Just Fitzmagic.
Okay.
I'm gonna see what this wave can do. He's starting again. He's getting another chance to start, and that also could mean that Jameis Winston's time is done. But he's getting Fitz is getting his chance to start again.
He did almost bring them back against Cincinnati. That's for sure. That is for sure. Well, he did bring it back against Cincinnati.
It was a pretty good game. So I'm gonna go with, especially if If only reason I say the Buccaneers, if they can limit Kim from running and make him pass the ball more, then you got a chance. We got Kansas City Chiefs and Cleveland Browns.
Next. Chiefs. Next.
And then we got the New York Jets versus the Miami Dolphins.
Man. I'll probably take the Dolphins in that. I mean, I don't know. The Jets, I just don't trust the Jets right now. Nor should anyone, for that matter, but I'll take the Dolphins. I'll take Brock Lobster. Brock Osweiler.
Brock Lesnar. Nice. We also have the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings.
I don't know, man. I want to pick the Vikings, but I don't know. It's just they've been a really weird team this year. I mean, the Lions have been just as weird. I think just for the sake of them being home, I'm going to take Minnesota in this one. But on top of that, the Lions don't have Golden Tate, so maybe this isn't as tough of a pick as it should be.
I think I'm around with the Lions.
All right.
I feel like the Lions, it's like a must win. If they want to see, they have to beat the Vikings. So it's like, who's hungry? Who's gonna move up in the standings? Who's gonna drop down? And it gives the Lions a chance to go back in top of the standings, because right now Bears is back in first.
Yeah.
And then it's Green Bay, Minnesota.
It's a cluster bleep over there in the NFC North, just to say. I think everyone's separated by at least a game. That's it. Everyone. You're either 4-3 or 3-4, basically.
Yes.
Or 4-3-1. Everyone has a 4-3 in their record.
True enough. We also have the Atlanta Falcons versus the Washington Redskins. Falcons coming in this game 3-4, and the Redskins is 5-2. I'm going with the Redskins in that game.
I think I'm going to take the Falcons in this one. I know they haven't won on the road yet this year. They're 3-4. I believe they're coming off a bye this past week. So sign me up for Matty Ice and the Falcons.
Nice. And then we got the Houston Texans, Denver Broncos. Texans 5-3, Broncos 3-5.
We didn't even touch on the Texans getting Demaryius Thomas, and go figure, his first game as a Texan is against the team he came from. So I mean, he probably didn't have to go too far, I guess. But Texans are playing really well, man. I think I'm going to take Houston, assuming the weather right now. And this is going to be November when they play. 56 degrees over in Denver in November. That's like summer for Denver over there at this time of year.
56. I'm taking Texas, actually, is my pick for that game. Like you said, they added Demaryius Thomas to it, which will give Watson another receiver, a great receiver in tight windows. So if you zip that ball to him, he would catch it. He has a...
How nice is it? You lose Will Fuller for the season, and then you bring in Demaryius Thomas in a trade. Must be nice.
Super nice. Los Angeles Chargers, who is 5-2 this season, versus the 4-3 Seattle Seahawks.
There's some decent games on here. I actually think I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one.
I'm going with Phillip Rivers.
Go Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, he's been on a tear lately in the last couple of games. He been finding his receivers. His completion rate has been pretty high. I'm going with Chargers. We also got Rams and 8-0 New Orleans Saints 6-1.
I can't wait for this one. I think this is where the Rams will slip up. I think the Saints are gonna knock them off.
Knock them off of their
pedestal, their undefeated pedestal.
Because I feel like the Rams, if they win this game, they're on point to be like the New England Patriots when 16-0.
Right. And speaking of the Devils, the Patriots.
Versus
another
package.
Oh, I'm excited. Rodgers against Brady. It's only the second time ever they're facing each other too. Patriots though, I like the Patriots. At home too, obviously. And yeah.
Which
like
both these teams have good records at home, and I'm riding with the Patriots on this one.
Yeah, the Packers even haven't won a road game either. You're right.
Josh Gordon.
Just show up, man. Show up on time. Yeah.
Gronk will be back. So
yeah.
And White's healthy again too. I'm riding with the Patriots in that. And then Monday Night Football, we got Tennessee Titans and Dallas Cowboys, both 3-4.
I'm gonna take the Cowboys. I don't. The Titans give me such a bad taste. They really do. So give me the Cowboys.
I'm gonna ride with the Titans. I like Marcus Mariota, what he can do with offense.
Fair enough.
With that being said, I know you hate to hear us leave, but we'll be back next Wednesday, same time, 6 p.m. for Dragon Sports Live here on Chicagoland Sports Radio. Peace out.